Hey, Foundry, Happy New Year. As we say goodbye to 2022, hello to 2023, and we're just a little bit of the way into it, I'm going to wager that two things are true. The first is that I think that it's probably likely, even just a few hours into 2023, that you are carrying with you some unreconciled frustrations, circumstances, happenings where you're trying to figure out like what kind of wisdom would help you put those things to bed, put them away, and just kind of move on, how to really frame in your past. And I'm also guessing just a few hours into 2023 that there are some areas in your life this year as you're looking forward where you're trying to figure out the wisdom that you might need in order to make some kind of decision, some kind of maybe relationship thing, some kind of job thing, some kind of future-minded thing, and you feel both of those things in the present tense right now, places where you could use a little bit of wisdom. And that's why over the course of the next 31 days as a church, we're going to check out a book of the Old Testament called Proverbs. Now, there's 66 books of the Bible, and each of them have their own literary form or genre. Some of them read like books of law, some of them read like letters, some of them read almost like history books of sorts. Wisdom literature is kind of, it's very clear in a sense, it ends to be wisdom, but it aims to do that in a really practical sense. It aims to kind of bring down from, the existential, the really just practical things. Here's some stuff that you can put in your pocket. Here's some things, these really short little clips that you could take with you over the course of your day. And that's really the essence of this book that we're going to check out over the course of January called Proverbs. It's a collection of sayings, a collection of wisdom. It's a framework for wisdom that's intended to help us in a really practical way deal with some of the stuff. And here's the thing, even though this book is thousands of years old, it deals with things that you're probably thinking about or wrestling with in some form. Money, sex, ambition, parenting, how to make a decision about something, anything in our lives today. So let me give you just a kind of quick framework of how this is going to work. There's 31 days in the month of January, just in case you didn't know that. There's your practical wisdom, 31 days in the month of January. And there's 31 chapters, collections of sayings, 31 respective collections or chapters of Proverbs. And so here's what we want to do. Day 1, January 1, we want to read Proverbs chapter 1. Day 2, January 2, we want to read Proverbs chapter 2, and so on and so forth. So here's what I would ask you to do. I ask you to track with us in that way. I want to invite you, challenge you to do that. Second, I would love for you to just get a hold of something that you can interact with. If you have a hard copy of the Bible, one you don't mind writing in or making highlights in. If you use the Bible app, there in some of those reading plans, there's ways that you can make notes, ways that you can highlight things that stand out to you. Specifically, in our time together, Austin's going to tell you how you can jump into a communal Proverbs reading plan that's going to give some devotional content, some supplemental content that will help those readings make sense to you every time you kind of sit down. Now, here's what I think we're going to find when we do that. I think we're going to find some stuff that sounds really good, like kind of mic droppy, deep wisdom that we're like, phew. I mean, even if we're not a follower of Jesus, we might see some things that go, man, that just makes a lot of sense. It just makes a lot of sense for the world to work that way. But then I also think we're going to find this. I think we're going to find that there's stuff that sounds really good, we know is practical, but honestly, we just don't feel like doing it. You don't feel like doing it. I don't feel like doing it. And if that's you and that's me, we're in good company because the guy that put together this collection of sayings very much lives that way. Solomon, who's widely considered one of the wisest men in the ancient world, had a deep thirst for knowledge, all kinds of plants and animals. Read 1 Kings chapter 4 if you want to kind of hear that reflection on him. But if we look at his personal life and we take a look at other books of the Bible that kind of speak to the narrative of his story, we find that even this guy, for all of this head knowledge, for all of this stuff up here, really struggled to carry some of this stuff out. And so we want to go on the journey that Proverbs chapter 1, verses 1 through 7 kind of calls us to in an introductory form. So let me grab that for you. It goes like this. The Proverbs of Solomon, son of David, king of Israel, for gaining wisdom and instruction, for understanding words of insight, for receiving instruction in prudent behavior, doing what is right and just and fair, for giving prudence to those who are simple, knowledge and discretion to the young. Let the wise listen and add to their learning, and let the discerning get guidance. For understanding proverbs and parables and sayings and riddles of the wise, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. So let's break this down really fast before we take a few minutes and just ask God to help us frame in some wisdom for our year. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. This word knowledge, some of your translations will say wisdom. It's not just head knowledge, right? We all know people, and you might be one of them. It's got books upon books upon books, or even advanced degrees upon advanced degrees. You can recite random facts about useless information that make you really, really good for like barroom trivia, but you don't really like to apply it. The idea of wisdom prescribed in the Proverbs over the course of this month is not just talking about the accumulation of wisdom and knowledge. The goal of our time isn't just to memorize some scriptures or to put a couple phrases or turns of phrase in our pocket that make us really interesting at a party. But it's really to say, and this is a posture of the book of Proverbs, to say wisdom is going to be like this craft that we're learning. Think of like an apprentice that's learning a skill. It's practiced in real time. So the whole point about these conversations about money and ambition is sort of, they're all happening in real world scenarios where things are actually pretty tough to do. But then there's this phrase, the fear of the Lord. And it sounds really fire and brimstone. It feels really angry God. But it's actually used a number of times, not just in Proverbs, but all throughout the Hebrew scriptures, to sort of infer an awe or reverence for how the world works. Think of what it's like when you see the James Webb telescope and you feel really small, when you see all these pictures of high-definition black holes across the universe. Or a time where you've stood somewhere on planet Earth that just made you feel really small, like the Grand Canyon or the Cliffs of Moher in Ireland. You just went, oh man, I kind of know my place here. Like we functionally live in a world where we sort of believe that all of these topics like money and ambition and friendships and conflict all circle around our definitions of those things. But the fear of the Lord would say, hey, there is absolute truth out there. There is a way the world works. Your definitions of that, my definitions of that are all very much works in progress. None of us have got it all figured out. But it's our reverence, our understanding for the one who does have that all figured out, and a posture of humility that will begin to help us really apply the things that Solomon's wrestling with and trying to say. And so that's the journey this month, to have a deep appreciation for the way and the character of God, and then to practically together sharpen one another as we go on this journey together. So we want to invite you along for that. To kind of help you just kind of get yourself into that posture, I want to encourage you just to kind of find a place to finish reading Proverbs chapter 1. And as you do, following that, I want to give you a couple things to think about on this quest for the pursuit of wisdom rooted in awe and reverence for the character of God. Number one, what spiritual disciplines this year, like praying, engaging in church, serving, could really help you grow in that idea of the fear of the Lord? And how will you practice them? Second, if you just made a practical list of the things you are thankful for, and you did that and go back and look over that, how might that help you better appreciate kind of your place in the universe? Third, what practices of self-care could you begin to, even now, try to apply to your year that would help you pursue wise living? And then lastly, who are your people? Who are the people that could walk with you and be for you as you aim to walk in wisdom? Happy New Year, Foundry.
Hey, thanks so much for hopping on today as we begin the new year looking at the book of Proverbs in this series, Word to the Wise. Throughout this series, we're going to be diving through the book of Proverbs, looking at a proverb corresponding to the day of the month. And so next week, if you join us on January 8th, we'll be looking at Proverbs 8. As Scott mentioned earlier, throughout this series, we're going to be doing a communal reading plan, which we would love for you to join us in doing. It's pretty simple. You click the link in the description below and you'll be able to join us and to participate as each day we read one proverb in the month of January. There's 31 proverbs, 31 days in the month. So each day we're going to go with the corresponding proverb for the day of the month. This is a great way to begin diving into the Bible and begin participating in reading scripture while also wrestling through some of the things that it says, and even more so, taking away some practical wisdom that we can apply in this new year. We hope that you go to the link in the description, click on that, and begin to participate with us as we dive into the book of Proverbs throughout this month. Now, if you are new here at the Foundry, we are so excited and happy that you are here with us as we are starting the new year. And a great way to get to know us and to get to know what's going on here at the Foundry is to head over to foundrybaltimore.com/connect, where you can fill out a digital connection card. When you fill out this digital connection card, you get put on a list which gives you the opportunity to receive weekly emails from us letting you know about what is happening here at the Foundry. We have many events coming up that we haven't talked a ton about, mostly because we've been so focused on Christmas. But as we are entering into the new year, you can get these emails and learn more about what's happening in the J term and even beyond that. Now, if you're new and you're already on that website, or if you're a person that's been with us for a while, I would encourage you also to go to foundrybaltimore.com/connect and tell us what you're praying for this year. As we're getting into the new year, there's certainly things that you are taking time and you are investing prayer in, and we would love to pray alongside you. So head on over to foundrybaltimore.com/connect, fill out the prayer request portion of the digital connection card, and let us know how we as a staff can pray with you in this new year. We hope to see you online or in person next week as we continue our series, Word to the Wise. Thanks so much for being here with us. We'll see you.